Vegas, baby. Vegas. Welcome to the Real Kyper at Noon show. I'm Nick Kypreos, and yes, that was on our thumbnail. Not Austin Powers, the guy that has all the power right now, Marc-Andre Fleury, and Vegas. What we anticipated all season long out of the West was Vegas and Colorado. We wanted that matchup months ago, and we got it big time. And yes, prevailing team that stood tallest was not Nate McKinnon and company, but Marc-Andre Fleury. I'm Nick Kypreos. I got Joe and Jordan here. We also got my quarantine pal in Prince Edward Island. And before we go any further, let's bring in Doug Maclean and go through protocol here. So, Mac, do you have a cough?
I'm on the air. No, I do not have a cough.
Hi, Jill. Is that Jill?
Nick just said hi. She just brought me up a water. Nick says hi.
Before we went live, Mac, you asked her for a beer.
I know, and she told me no beer, no beer when I'm on.
You know, if you're flirting with your life if you mess with.
They didn't mind
a
it.
Little bit.
They didn't seem to mind me having a beer before I went on the air in Sportsnet.
3. So, do you have a cough?
No.
Sense
I don't
of
have a
smell?
sore throat. No.
Smell?
No.
Fever?
No.
Shortness of patience?
Yes. And shortness of breath.
That wasn't a COVID-related question. That's just you always.
Oh, no. So the way it is in PEI, and I don't know, I guess it must be the same everywhere, is they phone you every day. So I have this young fella that phones me, nice little fella, and he goes through all the questions.
Like?
And do you have, all the ones you just asked. Every day he reads them. Now, I answer no. And then I say, oh, by the way, I did get 2 vaccinations in January, but I guess that doesn't matter. And I've had 4 tests in the last 3 days, but that doesn't matter. But we're negative. But anyway, he's trying to do his job, and he just keeps going. Then, do you have any aches or pains? I said, I've had aches or pains for like 20 years. So, and then he said, and how's Jill feeling? I said, she's got a pain in her ass, and it's me.
You must feel so sorry for Jill.
What'd you say, Jill? Jill said she's glad she gave me that line.
She makes you look good constantly.
I know she does.
He must actually feel sorry for her. She might be the only person in the country that is granted permission to leave before the quarantine.
The 14 days. Nick says you should be able to get out before the 14 days. It's called what do they call that in jail? Parole. Now, Jill asked me today what time was the show coming on, and I thought, well, she wants to be able to sit down and listen to it, you know. And she said, no, I'm going out to clean the RV when the show's on. So you're not as popular here as you think you are.
It sounds like you got a busy afternoon, so we better get to work right away on the show.
Yes, we do. I do.
Mac, I sent out a tweet last night right after the game when I said, big and strong beats speed. And while we continue to look over a course of 82 games or 56 games in this case this season, I tell people all the time there's 2 seasons. There's 2 different looks. There's the regular season and the real season. And some teams still don't get it. And I'm looking at Colorado today and I'm going, I'm not sure they really got it because they got steamrolled, Mac. They got the snot knocked out of them.
Well, you know what? It was a funny series. They start off 2-0 and they look like $1 million. I mean, what was the domination? Now, granted, Leonard started game 1, and that was maybe part of it, but they were feeling pretty good after 2 games. You know what? They were feeling pretty good after 2 periods last night, but you still never got the feeling they were going to win this. From when the time Vegas came back and tied this series 2-2, you never thought that Colorado were going to win it. the President's Trophy winner, and they just couldn't put it away. And then there was some glaring weaknesses in their game, some glaring weaknesses we didn't probably see during the regular season. I don't see them often, being in the West, but there was some glaring weaknesses to their game, and Vegas took big advantage of that. And like you said, the Vegas played big. They played hard. They played big. They forechecked. I mean, let's go back to when LA Kings finished 8th. They were the last team to get in the playoffs in the regular season and won the Stanley Cup. And didn't they win a couple with subpar regular seasons? It's just a different season, like you just said.
Well, and just the overall pounding, and then the two things that stood out was the McNabb hit on who did he hit along the wall there?
But he rocked him. He rocked him.
I just remember the hit right now, and I can't remember who it was. And then it was Tuck on their best player, McKinnon.
Yeah,
and
big hits, big body blows.
I'm just sitting there going, Mac, if you don't have an answer for that,
Nitition.
Yeah, that's easy for you to say and not easy for me to say. But he smoked
I know
him. The helmet.
He was drafted by Dallas. I know that. He rocked him.
The helmet went flying, and then when you get a good licking on your team's best player, like Tuck did on McKinnon, and then the constant battling in front of the net, Mac, and the defense blue lines didn't end up really close, did they? And when you look at Samuel Girard, who had a Jake Gardner game, I don't know what he finished, -4.
20 over 23 minutes, almost 24 minutes played, and a -4 in that game. And coverage, giveaways, coverage at the net. I felt for the kid. I really felt for him. And this is a kid that had a great regular season. But it's really interesting. Holden played a lot. McNabb played a lot. White Cloud played a lot. The bottom of their blue line in Vegas, they played them steady. They rolled them. I know the big guys played a lot more minutes, but still the lesser guys played big minutes. Timmins in the back end, not a whole lot of minutes. I mean, it was a difference maker in the series. Physical play ended up taking away a lot of Colorado speed, although you still have to give credit to Marc-Andre Fleury. When the game was 4-3, he made a couple of unbelievable 10-bellers. I mean, great saves. So it was a total team effort, top of the lineup to the bottom of the lineup. The fourth line gets 2 goals for Vegas. That's what I mean. Holden, McNabb, White Cloud, guys at the bottom of the lineup.
Colasar steps up.
Yeah, Colasar. Reeves comes back in the lineup and rocks people. I mean, it was a total team effort, top of the lineup to the bottom. Full marks to McKinnon. I thought he played a hell of a game and gave a big time, made big time plays.
Yeah, but you cannot.
Couple of assists.
You cannot go 3 games. And like McKinnon, he suffered Austin Matthews moments in this series. Yep. Consecutive games, no points. Can't go 3 points pointless, Mac. You can't. And if those guys go through long stretches of getting shut down, it's that simple. They don't win, the Leafs don't win, Edmonton Oilers don't win. And there's your 3 MVPs of the season.
Mac's camera just fell off a little bit. Mac, are you still there with us?
I didn't have disturb on my phone.
Okay, no worries. We're
that?
We're all good.
Let me just. Should I fix that
That's
right now?
That's a lovely view of the palm of your hand.
You could fix that right now. I have Kyper on screen, so you're all good to go.
People bothering you? Are they interrupting our show?
Like nobody. I guess people don't know I have a job anymore.
You're just such a popular guy.
Seriously,
people are really trying to get your attention.
You know what? We can leave your screen blank. We're okay. We don't have to look at you.
Do not disturb is on. I mean, seriously. But anyway,
thank you.
We don't have to look at you. We know
I
what you
know.
look like.
I know. Okay, sorry about that.
Just to
I'm a
pick up,
busy man.
just to pick up on that, Mac. I'm whether or not, and again, just to go back a little bit and talk about regular season compared to playoffs. It is, and you've gone through this, Mac, as a coach, as a general manager. Speak a little bit to why it's so different between the regular season and the playoffs, and why all of a sudden depth truly is the differential in all of this.
Well, I think the number one thing is attention to detail, the way you prepare for a team for a series versus the way you prepare a team in an 82 game schedule. I mean, you're going 3 games in 5 days, 4 games in 6, 7 days, and you're rolling out the game plans and the players saying, yeah. But when you sit down a week prior to a series and you start to dissect and break down how we're going to play a series against a team, and the number one thing you do when you're preparing is how are we going to play against, especially if you're the underdog. My experience has been the underdog. And how, as an underdog, are you going to prepare to stop the best players on the other team? How are you going to go after McKinnon, Landeskog, Ratnan, and Makar? How are you going to stop those players, and how are you going to play against them? And the focus and attention to detail is really different. Then players play really different. It's all out. It's everything. It's big hits. It's paying a price. It's never quitting. It just totally changes the way the game's played. With our analytics people, Colorado, I suspect, we're by far the best analytics team in the NHL. Well, at the end of the day, I'm not sure you'd say that when you really looked at how that game was played or how this series was played. They played hard last night. Give them full marks.
But it wasn't enough.
But never did I think they were going to win.
It wasn't. It ended up not being enough. And just to pick up on your points a little bit, and someone that's gone through the attention to details in a playoff match, what's able to happen with the star players is, to your point, if you were to put a scale 1 to 10 on the attention to detail during the regular season, you'd have a game plan against Connor McDavid or Austin Matthews on a scale of 4 to 5, maybe 6, right? In attention to detail for a player. In the playoffs, it goes 9. It goes to 8.5 to 9. The attention. So when
and it's a 5-man attention. It's 5 men attention to detail there. You do it in the regular season too, but it's not, the guys don't pay the same price that they play at playoff time against those guys.
And the adjustment actually, and the onus now is on your star players to find different ways.
That's right.
Right. So a Connor McDavid and an Austin Matthews can exploit teams that give them a 5 or a 6 on attention to detail, but they cannot exploit it at 8.5 or 9. They do get shut down if they don't find different ways to rise above it, or to lean on teammates or coaches or systems,
or
all readjustments. And that's the grand scheme of the difference between winning and losing.
And the one way they can get around it a little bit, the star players, is if their complementary guys can give them a breather or give them a break because their power play is hot. Okay? That's where you get a bit. If Connor McDavid is being snuffed out, but when the Edmonton Oilers get a power play, when it's really tough to defend a McDavid, that is when you got to make hay for your star players. The one guy in the last 10, 12 years who has really played through this to a T is Sidney Crosby. And I'll tell you what, he's come through it. He's come through it, and he's had to pay a big price. And, it hasn't been easy on him.
No,
but
it hasn't.
he's the one guy that's risen.
You're right. And you know who else is now? Braden Point. It's not a secret. This guy's not sneaking up as their best overall complete player and
but
Cooper's go-to guy, and yet he still finds a way.
How did Sid overcome it? Sid overcame it because when the going gets really tough, he's in there. He's in there battling. He's the guy that's going to the paint. He's the guy that's walking out of the cycle. He's the guy that's stripping guys of pucks. He's the guy that's below the goal line digging loose pucks. He plays in dirty areas. And you know what? The star players at playoff time, your goal is to force them to play in uncomfortable situations. Make it really uncomfortable for them. And I'll tell you what, in Florida, I had guys on my team that wanted to make it really uncomfortable for stars. I mean, we had Lindros frothing at the mouth. Eddie Jovanovski and Billy Lindsay and Tommy Fitz and Brian Schoolin had Lindros frothing at the mouth. Lemieux and Yager. I mean, it was unbelievable the job they did on frustrating guys, you know? So it was easier then because you could clutch and grab and, you know.
I know, but
basically
there is, Mac, a sense of matching that type of talent and that type of skill with high hockey IQ. Yeah. And Sid is, I think he's a genius on the ice. And when it comes to when to utilize his skill and then when to have guys that maybe not even close to his talent level, but the Chris Kunitzes or the Gensels, who are good hockey players, but great hockey players, world-class players, not so much. But Sid finds a way through his intelligence to overcome a lot of that. I look at Nathan McKinnon, and he is skilled and he's powerful, but I'm watching him sometimes try to go end-to-end or take it upon himself with this miraculous rush, and not needed now, and not the right decision at this particular time.
Like the one play that jumps out is the 3-on-1 last night. You know, how does Sid play that 3-on-1 versus how does Nathan McKinnon play that 3-on-1 at a critical point in the game? But I mean, I got to give Nathan, full marks. He played his ass off last night, and he did play well. But like you said, you can't go 3 games without a sniff when you're a superstar. And unfortunately, he'll be the guy that'll pay a price. He and the coach. It's always the coach that pays the price because he's the guy that So we'll see.
Can you see them firing Bednar?
I'll be shocked. I mean, Joe Sakic is a lot stronger guy than that. Lots of guys would bail. This is a guy that won the President's Trophy with this team. And you know, really, last year they didn't have a chance because their goaltending was god-awful at the playoff time. And you know what? I don't think he deserves to be fired. And the media, they're calling for it. They're after him. And I'm thinking, why aren't they mentioning Joe Sakic's name? I said it this year, Nick. I said it, and I didn't think Grubauer was a Stanley Cup goaltender. He proved me wrong all season. I didn't like his game last night. I know there was deflections. I know there was tips, but he was not as good as Fleury last night. He wasn't close.
He can't go toe-to-toe with Fleury.
And I'm sorry. I mean, I know there was deflections. Wasn't horrible, I know there were tough goals, but there was a couple of horrible goals for me.
No. He wasn't horrible, but he was just he was okay. He was okay enough to lose.
You know what really bothered me about is the giving up of goals, like tie the game and then they give up a goal in the last 25 seconds of the second period. You know, when Petrangelo scores on the rebound, like seriously.
Yeah, the Holden one sucks the life out of you, Matt.
Oh,
you get a gift.
He didn't see it. He was looking in the corner, for God's sake.
I was listening to the broadcast last night, and they talked about I think it was Riley Smith coming out of the corner and doing something to fool. I didn't see anything to suggest that he should have taken his eye off the puck. I haven't got a
and you
clue.
not see a pass to the corner and the guy with the puck at the corner. I mean, it was like there's no excuse in the world for that. I'm sorry. I don't care. There's no excuse.
You cannot get that great start and then gift them one back to even it up. That was a disaster.
And there was a couple of times where they gave up big goals on, and then Carrier scores the insurance one, and beats Gerard at the paint. And I know Carrier is a big, strong guy, and I know Gerard's not, but like, the lack of depth on their blue line with Graves getting hurt late in the season. And then you have the situation where you're a little nervous to play Timmins as a youngster. Makar plays it too much. I mean, I thought their lack of depth on the back end hurt them. And I'm sorry, Kadri loss was devastating. And they're, Comper. Just think of this. Comper, young, not a top guy. O'Connor.
Yes.
Yost. Newhook.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an inexperienced group of forwards that's going against a Vegas team that's a big, strong, experienced group.
Landeskog -5, I think, and it's hard. It's hard when your best players get shut down for such a long stretch, and you can't recover. Mac, the other thing too, and we've been kind of all over this story right from day one, right from really the trade from Robin Lehner, and just the work of Marc-Andre Fleury and how this guy, how it's worked out. It's miraculous and mind-boggling that we could go through all of that, dating back to the bubble, the tweet with the sword going through Marc-Andre Fleury's back, that he is now in this position. It is phenomenal. In many ways, this is not the script that they wrote in Vegas. And we assure you that they weren't ever in a position where they really thought that they would go with both these guys in this scenario. But it has worked out well. And in many ways, Marc-Andre Fleury has really saved the bacon of Vegas.
Oh, has he ever? And he's, no matter what, he's been the star. You saw the crowd last night. Every time he makes a save, it's just ovation after ovation. But this is a guy, Nick, that at 36 years of age, first overall pick of the draft, he looks better last night than he did in his prime in Pittsburgh at times. Yeah. How is that possible?
Well,
the way he's moving in the net. I mean, what about the one White Cloud catch and it deflects off him and then he makes the catch off it? And I'm thinking, like, how alert is this? And then he's laughing with White Cloud. He makes a great play. Carrier's in because he bailed Carrier out and they're laughing. I mean, they love this guy. He's the heart and soul of their team. And they tried to go buy him. When he lost the series to San Jose, they tried to go buy him. And it hasn't worked.
Well, and again,
it hasn't worked. He saved their ass, as a matter of fact.
He has saved their ass, and that's a good thing. And there's an old saying in hockey, the best trades are the ones that you don't make, and
your owner won't let you make.
My understanding is that there was an opportunity for Fleury to go back to Pittsburgh. It didn't get done. And then, the trade that you don't make, Pacioretty to Los Angeles, where it looked like everything was all set. And then Pacioretty at the end just said, it's not in my heart to go to LA. And that got nixed. And look at those two guys today and what they're doing for Vegas going into a Final Four.
No, I know. And I mean, look, there's been so many great stories. I mean, do you remember, Nick, you and I in Mississauga watching the Memorial Cup when Braden McNabb caught the kid at center ice with the big hit?
Yes.
And basically a first-round pick for Colorado.
Hishin.
The kid was
Hishin.
Yeah,
Hishin.
Joey Hishin, and a big hit. And then to watch McNabb, the number of people that have said to me in the last 5 years that McNabb can't play. McNabb can't play. McNabb, and I'm thinking, all I know is He's on their second unit with Theodore, a lot of nights. And the guy is a physical presence, and he's a gamer. He's a gamer. And we go back. I keep going back to this. The guys you don't want. Everybody wants Gerard in the regular season. Everybody loves those guys.
Yeah.
Playoffs, those big body guys, the speed and that prettiness, that loveliness we like in the regular season disappears for a lot of guys that just defend and hurt people and make people pay a big price. You come around, Fleury, you're paying a price when McNabb's on the ice. You're paying a price when White Cloud's on the ice. Martinez has been a friggin' star for them. How good was he last night, Martinez? So, you know what? It's a good story.
It is, and I got to give Kelly McCrimmon full credit too, Mac. He's got a good eye. He's the general manager today, but he's got a scout's eye. And you look at White Cloud, over 20 minutes last night, undrafted. He's a Brandon kid. And he knows him, and he knows his character. And I look at the other guy, Janmark, that they picked up from Chicago. Like, Kelly's got an eye for guys that can come in and add.
And think of this. Stevenson, Western Hockey League connection. Kolastar, Brandon connection. Stone, Brandon connection.
Yeah.
White Cloud. Out of the Western League that he knows these guys. So, I mean, there's been some great pickups. There's been some real good pickups. And they're a veteran group. They're a real veteran group.
And the other point I want to make, Mac.
I mean, what many kids are in that? Picks are not playing. They're in the minors, waiting their turn.
Are people bothering you again? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, the same guy that should know it. Jill's gone.
Should we text him, get him on air, give him a piece of our mind?
My business partner, for Christ's sake.
Bruce?
He doesn't know what he thinks. No. Bruce is like a partner, but this is my real partner.
Yeah.
How can they not know that you're on the Real Kyper at Noon show?
I know,
right now,
seriously.
live and in color?
Yeah, I was thinking Bruce just missed his time in the spotlight when he was with us in your office. I think we're all good now.
Have you got a phone? Can you phone 995?
Don't give his number out on the show. Text me and I'll tell him
that I'm busy right now. For Christ's sake.
Yeah, I'll handle it, man.
Can we get all our viewers to call him and tell him to shut up?
Yeah, 8675-309. Is that the number? All right, Kyper, you're on full screen by yourself now.
Oh my goodness.
He's calling him, but no, I'm actually gonna have Doug on screen while he makes this call.
I'm on the goddamn show, and you phoned 3 times and knocked me off the air. Can you wait till I finish the show? Don't you know I don't do this podcast? Anyway, you're on the air right now. I'm just showing you. Anyway, please don't phone till after 1.
Is he a McKinnon guy or?
Oh my God.
Jeff says hi. See you later. See you, bud.
Hello.
Jesus.
Jeff
Are
says
you
hi.
kidding me right now? Okay, have we got that straightened out?
Yeah, Jeff, I told him not to call till after.
We're all good on my end.
Okay, so one more point here, Mac. And again, when we're talking about Vegas, and some moves worked out, some haven't. But at the end of the day, if you've watched Kelly and George McPhee and the whole organization, including ownership, how aggressive they were to try to get better. And it is putting your balls on the line, including a trade for Pacioretty that cost you a top prospect in Suzuki. And of course, the biggest one of them all, Pietrangelo. And for a team like Colorado and Joe Sakic to know that is the team that you're going to have to get through.
Yeah.
And to watch at the trade deadline, I don't know what they ended up with. The kid from Detroit, the defenseman.
They picked up Nemeth. Yeah.
Nemeth and Devin Dubnyk, who didn't factor at all in this.
And Johansson from Buffalo, the backup.
Mac.
Not enough.
Joe didn't do enough he didn't do enough to prepare to give Nate McKinnon the best opportunity to beat Vegas when you've watched what Vegas has been doing the last 12 months.
But, the whole Vegas thing started 4 years ago. This is they've come in as a heavy team from day one and have played the very same way since day one. And whether people want to buy it or not, they play a playoff game. That's what they played. It's there's skill. There's great skill on the team, but they play a heavy game. They're not danglers. Even Riley Smith, who's one of the smartest players in the game. What about what Marchessault has done? The way this guy's gone to the paint to score goals, gone to the net to score goals. What about Carlson? They play a heavy game, and they play it during the regular season.
Yeah.
So for the teams out there that want to be, call them danglers or pretty boys or skill, when you want to play the pretty game, you're going to watch a lot of playoff games.
They have not wavered in 4 years about style of play.
Like I'll tell you, they haven't. They have not.
And,
not since day one.
Bailed. They have not bailed.
And I'll tell you what, you look at Edmonton Oilers and you look at the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Winnipeg Jets and the New York Rangers, the way they're built right now, with a ton of skill and a ton of pretty. I'm telling you what, watch these, and every GM is sitting watching these games saying, man, where does my team stack up in this game when it's this way, when it's played this hard? Where do I stack up with my group? And there's a lot of GMs last night going to bed, tossing and turning, thinking, maybe I need to be a little heavier. And one of them would be, well, I don't know if Kyle Dubas would. I don't know if he'd stayed up that late to watch, but, you got to, whether you like it or not, I happen to like Kyle a lot. I just think, that's the way it is at playoff time. I'm sorry. That's the way it is. And it's been like that for 25 years. And I don't give a rat's ass about all the analytics. I love analytics, but you can throw it all if your team doesn't compete at this level at playoff time. Montreal Canadiens are doing it. People laughed at them. I know price has been a big part, but there's been a lot of other things that have certainly helped.
And in many ways, Montreal is stuck to their true identity as well. And they have not wavered from last season's success early in the preliminary playoffs or whatever the hell you want to call that first round last year in the bubble. But they know how they have to play. And I suppose nothing will change from the first, and second rounds to playing Vegas now. But Mac, I look at the Montreal Canadiens, and there's every reason, much like the first round against Toronto, to believe that this should not be close. Now, history has shown us that the game isn't played on paper or staring at a lineup. It's played on the ice. And stranger things have happened in professional sports. But there's still no reason to believe that the Montreal Canadiens with this lineup should be able to beat Vegas.
No, and we said going into this the series against Toronto that Montreal Canadiens, based on what we watched all year, shouldn't beat the Toronto Maple Leafs. But we also said Price versus Campbell. We said a big blue line that will be mean. How much will it bother the Leafs? And we also talked about the pressure on the Leafs and could they handle the pressure? And if those three things didn't go their way, they were in trouble, and they ended up not going their way and they're in trouble. So now you look at this team and you say Fleury versus Price. Pretty close. That's going to be a very interesting battle to watch. Blue line versus blue line. I would give the edge to Vegas, but not by much, because you got some battlers. And Petrie, if he's healthy, that's a real plus. They're rested. They're getting healthy. And then up front, I don't know. I think that their defense can handle a forecheck because they're physically strong. I don't know if they'll be able to get the puck going well enough against them. And I don't know if their forwards can match. I don't think so.
I just watched that relentless forecheck, and
that's going to be a problem.
I don't know, and up the middle, they all play with a little bit of they're fierce on the forecheck. Stevenson, Carlson, Nicholas Waugh,
they are
Polisar.
But you know what, Nick?
Huck, Reeves.
I'll tell you what.
Carrier, they just keep coming at you.
They forechecked hard last night, the whole game. But there was, with 5 minutes left in the second period, they had 3 shots on goal, Vegas. I mean, the game was there for Colorado to take it because they were forechecking like crazy. They were defending. Fleury was making big saves. But they had nothing going offensively. But for whatever reason, you never felt they were going to lose the game. But I mean, how did Colorado blow that second period last night and give up the goddamn lead with 20 seconds left? It was a joke. Anyway.
Well, and I just see if Montreal is going to have to stay in this or make people believe that they can win, they're going to have to hit a physical level that we've yet seen.
Yeah, it is going to be a very challenging, tough series. But, hey, confidence goes a long way. I got to give DeBoer credit here, too. This is a team, tough injuries, down 2-0. Crazy decision to give Leonard the game, but he was maybe thinking of resting Fleury, that he'd need him. Maybe it turned out to be smart. Lots of challenges, and they overcame it. And you know what? It was an all-round good performance by a lot of teams. So now Montreal, in my opinion, I don't think Montreal beats them, but I think it's going to be a war. I think it's going to be a war.
What do you think?
And we'll see.
How do you think a guy like Cole Caulfield feels watching Vegas and Colorado play last night and see some of those hits? You think that would kind of be a little intimidating for him?
Well, you know what? Yeah.
He's a smart guy. He's a smart guy. He's a talented guy.
Dealt with this his entire career since he was 10 years of age. And I don't think he'll be fazed by it. I don't think he's Johnny Gaudreau. I don't think he's going to be fazed by it.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you they better be prepared for Cole Caulfield, because he's a dangerous guy and he's a guy that can score and make plays. So I don't think he'll be fazed by it, but I mean, I was sore watching them play last night.
I know. And you watched the play that he made on the overtime goal that eliminated Winnipeg on the Toffoli goal.
Big time.
And if you go back, you watch Andrew Kopp play the puck, and Cole Caulfield just undressed him. And
so
Vegas doesn't seem to me a team that watches the puck a lot of times in their own zone.
No, and then again, how is Montreal's power play going to be against Vegas's penalty kill? I mean, there's so many variables, but I just don't see Montreal being able to go toe-to-toe with this team the way they're playing. And that building is intimidating. Vegas, baby, it's intimidating. They've got as good of fans as there is in hockey.
It's fun to watch.
And it's led, as I said,
it's led by Darren Millard
there.
It's led by Darren Millard and Gary Lawless. They're I want to see those guys do the siren.
They took them off the air, didn't they?
I don't know. I have no idea.
It's national, so they don't. Maybe they're just doing radio or something. But I don't think they let the pom-poms on national broadcast, do they?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Don't they syndicate it too? Don't you have the choice in those local markets?
No. Okay. I think they took the pom-poms from the two of them and said, no, you're not. You're just doing local, but radio. But I don't know.
Have they got sized for their Stanley Cup rings yet, you think, or is it too early?
I don't know, but I'm going to be pretty pissed off if you have a Stanley Cup ring, a legitimate one, and Millard gets one. I will be really pissed off. And I've got my Washington Capitals team ring.
Oh, my God. I bet you they've been sized already.
Oh, yeah. Sure they have.
Okay, Mac, let's switch gears. We are in the Final Four, and we got to talk about the Islanders, and in many ways, we saw Tampa Bay. We saw we're looking around and we only got 4 left here. And we saw Tampa Bay and we saw Vegas, but I don't know if we necessarily saw the Islanders. And you look at Lou Lamoriello and what's he's done since he's left the Leafs, and it's like 5 rounds. And
don't bring that up again.
It's just
that's been brought up
incredible.
Too many times.
But it is quite remarkable on the run he's had since first becoming a general manager in the 80s. And so can the Islanders, in many ways, we look at Montreal as a huge underdog here, but against Tampa Bay coming out of their series, firing on all cylinders, like that's a huge mountain.
You know, let's just talk Lou Lamoriello for 1 minute, and like Brendan Shanahan has had an amazing career, but and we, Nick, we talked about this at Sportsnet. Like when this happened, that Lou Lamoriello was essentially fired because he wanted Kyle Dubas to be the GM coming off a Calder Cup championship. Do you know how many guys have won Calder Cup championships as GMs? It's like a fake GM job.
Well,
you know?
Mac,
like it's a joke.
I know, but let's call it. Let's really say it, that the payroll on the Leafs at that time was off the charts. They had guys making $1 million down there. It was crazy to look at the Maple Leafs veteran presence on that Calder Cup team and the money that they had down there.
Crazy.
And
so, but what would Shanny be thinking about? Not like, how can you not have a perfect scenario? If you want to move Babcock out, that's fine. I didn't have a problem with that. But you've got the perfect mentor for Kyle Dubas for the next 2 or 3 years or 5 years. Like, what's the rush to put him in as the GM when you've got Lou, who wanted to be there and was quite comfortable being a mentor? I don't get that. It just is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion Brendan Shanahan would have been smart enough to say that this is not going to work any longer. That, whether it was Kyle feeling uncomfortable or Lou, but there wasn't a sense of harmony in that
between the two of them.
So it's easy to sit there and say, but you got to have both guys buy into it. And at that point,
Lou, so what you're
Kyle had
to
leave.
Lou wasn't buying in. Lou was not buying into spending a lot of time training the guy to take his job.
And Kyle had also other offers to move on. And
what? A GM or a hockey operations guy?
Mac,
he had a GM.
Whatever it was a step up. And I believe it was Colorado, if I'm not mistaken. And
that's who I remember talking about.
Just trying to remember that there was a sense that maybe Colorado was interested in maybe Kyle Dubas. And I think that sped the process up.
Brendan needs to have the philosophy of, when you stick your hand in a bucket of water and you take the hand out, the hole that's left there is how indispensable you are.
There you go. Yeah. So there's no question Lou is getting the last laugh here.
And he's done a hell of a job. I don't care. I mean, number one, he hired Barry Trotz. Great hire.
And in many ways, Mac, he is the face of the Islanders right now. He's the brains behind the whole operation. He's the one that they can get them to stand certain places, or he is arguably one of the most important coaches to a team that I can remember in a long, long time, because as much as we like to think that Barzal's a superstar, he's just not at the level that we've seen other great players the last few years. He may get there one day, and maybe this will be the series that takes him to another level, but this is still a team that's kind of looking at some nights where your fourth or third line can look like your second line on some nights. Not a lot of teams can say that.
I love Trotzy, and I worked with him in Washington, and I really like him as a guy. Lou is the star because Lou gives Trotzy the type of players. The only players Lou wants on his team are and this is Jersey. This is on his entire career. He only brings in players who he knows and Trotzy knows will play the way you have to play this time of year. He's not worried. Dobson is a magnificent, talented young kid. Okay. Do you know the price they've made him pay in the 2 or 3 years he's been around there? I mean, and yet now he's becoming an important guy because he got the message. This is how you have to play if you're going to be here. And he's a smart kid and he's a big time talent. But they got guys on the team. They respect guys for the way they play. And Lou knows what you need this time of year. And the two of them are the stars. Lou and Trotzy. You're right.
And they don't have a top 6 or a bottom 6. They got like a top 9 or 10 where Komarov can be on the first line. He can be on the fourth line. Palmieri on paper is on the third line. And, we know how important he is. It's like,
I mean, the respect that the Clutterbuck Martin, Cizikas group get, the credit they get, Andy Green comes in and he's filled in nice as a 5'6" guy with Dobson. I mean, he's a mentor back there. I mean, they gave up Taves because they needed cap space. To Colorado, tough move, tough to give him up. But you know what, Lou, I didn't have the respect for them at the start of the year that I should have. I'll tell you that. And he keeps showing it. And somebody wrote the other day, the Islanders have 4 checking lines this time of year.
Yeah.
And the guy that wrote it, Larry Brooks, said, and the Rangers, I don't think they have 1 checking line.
Well,
you need lines that can play 200 feet this time of year. So anyway, they've done a hell of a job.
A lot of people can be awfully excited about the Rangers, but they're leaning towards the Leaf philosophy of maybe having a great regular season team and not one that's built for the playoffs. So we'll see what Chris Drury ends up doing this offseason to maybe revisit that.
And obviously that was a factor. That was a factor because obviously Glenn Sather and Dolan didn't think they were ready to, and everything they do with the Rangers is off what the Islanders do. Now the Islanders are the Golden Boys, and the Rangers are really pissed off about it, and they've got to figure it out.
Well, and we watch how this series is going to unfold, and like Montreal, you gotta give them at least a look and a chance to shut down a Vegas team, and the Islanders are going to have to shut down Tampa Bay, Mac. And
I know.
Can you see a Braden Point getting shut down for 3 or 4 games like Nathan McKinnon was against what we saw last night against Vegas? Is that possible, or are they
here's the difference in the two teams, and can Vegas shut down Tampa's power play? Can the Islanders shut down Tampa's power play right now? And will Vegas be? But right now, that's the number one thing. Can they contain was it not 40% power play in the Carolina series?
Yeah.
So they've got to contain that. And the other thing, it's not fair. There's no way, and your boy Hamilton said it, told me before the show what he said. I thought that was the line maybe of the postseason.
That was Dougie Hamilton in his post-game comments saying we lost to a team $18 million over the cap.
That's a great line. Dougie Hamilton has a reputation of being a very bright, book-smart guy. And
he said
he can add and subtract.
And he said, and they're trying to paint the picture that's not a shot, and of course Doug has a tremendous respect for Tampa and all of that, but that was a shot. That has to be a shot to the league, saying that our owner's not prepared to put an extra $18 million of cash, even though it doesn't look like that on the salary cap, and you guys can.
Yeah. Oh, it's cash. It's cash. Yeah. Oh no, Bettman
Real
would not be
cash.
happy with that comment. Gary would not be happy with that comment.
Now he wants to stay Dougie Hamilton, but there's a sense anyways from the last I heard that they don't want to go much more than $7.5 million, and it's just not going to get done. And all of a sudden, are the Rangers waiting for Rod Brindamore, Mac? Because there was a feeling that he was going to take a lot less, but he wanted that money to be reallocated within the organization with coaches, maybe administrative people, scouts, his staff. I'm just not sure that owner, Tom Dundon, will necessarily do that.
I just don't see Rod Brindamore with the Rangers. If Rod Brindamore doesn't stay there, I would say it'd be more likely Seattle or whoever else gets fired here. I don't see him as a New York type of guy. I just don't. So I don't see that. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, Gerard is in there tight right now. He's a leading candidate. I mean, obviously, Rick Tockett's in there. I don't know where the rest of them. Babcock is doing a magnificent job on TV. So, maybe he'll
meant to do that, I think.
Yeah, he's smooth. Very smooth.
I'm glad he finally found his calling.
Well, you know what I love? I love that the players in Toronto still were remembering his words. I remember after game 6 or whatever it was, Marner said, "We've got to start on time." He didn't, but he said it anyway.
Well, he's got a lot of the lines for sure.
So anyway, I don't know what. Anyway, look, it's the Islanders. Tampa is going to be a great series, I think, and it's going to be a dogfight and the trenches. It's going to be ugly, but Tampa with that blue line with Hedman, Savard, McDonough, Sergachev. I mean, Chernik. They are a mean blue line. They can play it any way. They can shut down. They can be physical. They're not going to be intimidated. And the power play. But it could be a hell of a series. It will not be easy for Tampa to beat the Islanders.
6 or 7 games.
I've got Tampa winning it, and I think I would have to say it would be a 6-gamer.
You got to assume that there's going to be a couple of frustrating nights for Tampa Bay.
The other thing I come back again to Vasilevsky in goal. He's that good. I know Varlamov has been good, and I know Sorokin's been good for the Islanders, but Vasilevsky is going to be tough to beat by any team.
That one starts Sunday afternoon.
Yep.
God, we're just quiet nights tonight. Saturday night.
Thank God I don't have to watch a game tonight. Thank God I can have a sip of wine and not be worrying that I'm hammered before I watch the game.
Wow. And more importantly, get to bed before 9.
I've been working hard around here, getting this place looking like $1 million,
So speaking of coaches, Mac, we saw Brad Larson hired by Columbus. Not exactly a huge hockey name in terms of what may have been out there, potentially. But a guy that they know exceptionally well, has worked with Tortorella. This is a natural assistant to head coach. The only thing I ask you is the danger there that often we don't see a ton of success with guys, longtime assistant coaches moving in as head coaches. And what does this do short and long term with some of the players who may want to leave, stick around? How does Brad Larson convince players to play in Columbus?
It's somebody mentioned last night, comment was, how does the hiring of Brad Larson with the Blue Jackets compare to what Ohio State football do when they go to hire a coach? They hire the biggest guys. Typically they can, although the last guy was an assistant that took over. So that's what they're compared to, is the Ohio State football program. I was caught off guard. I'd heard rumblings he was going to get the job. I was caught off guard because they're working hard on the perception of guys not wanting to be in Columbus. And I thought they might step out of the box and really go after somebody that would help change that perception. And maybe say Jones or Werenski may say, well, maybe, and Korpisalo and some of these guys, maybe we want to be there. So, but here, I'm the last guy that's going to criticize a guy like Larson getting a head coaching job, because the last no-name guy like Larson to get a head coaching job was when I got the Florida Panther job. Okay? It was the same. And I was doing an interview with Vic Rauter after I was named head coach, and Vic Rauter with TSN said to me, Doug, were you the fourth or the fifth choice for this job?
Ouch.
And I thought, you son of a bitch, saying that. And I ended the interview by saying, he said, well, after it over, and I was kind of mild-mannered, I said, thanks, Dick, for the interview. I knew his name was Vic, but I said, thanks, Dick, I called him. Then I went to TSN to do some world championships, and there was a big joke around the staff: when are Vic and Doug going to meet in the hallway?
Oh my gosh!
But Dick Rauter, at least 5,000 faxes in those days from people in PEI just ripping them. So it was great. So
make the final. Vic 1, Mac 0.
Happy for Brad, and you know what? He's paid his dues. I just was caught off guard because of the state of where they are with their reputation. I know Columbus. I know the organization. I know the ownership. It's good people, and I don't think it's fair that it's out there that it's not a good place. It's a great place.
It's twofold for, I think, John Davidson, is if you go hire a bigger name, even if you brought Gerard Gallant back, or you were able to get an experienced coach out there, land Brindamore, for, let's just say, the message is that you want to come back and you want to win now. Yeah. And by signing Larson, it's a message that really says, don't expect anything next year. We've got three first rounders. We're going to build through the draft, and we're going to do this thing slowly. So don't expect anything next year.
Unfortunately, the fans have been hearing that for 20 years, and they've won one playoff round in 20 years.
Well, if they're smart, they can read the tea leaves here.
Year 7. I mean, JD is the best. I mean, he is a friggin' genius, because every job JD gets, he sets it that he's got a 5-year rebuild. He did it in St. Louis.
He does.
But he's got another rebuild on his hands. I mean,
this is about your draft, your top 3 picks that you got for Foligno and Savard, and your own. I think at 5 that sits at 5th overall, and it will be about the next prospect or pick that you're going to get when you move Seth Jones this summer. And Seth has made it abundantly clear to Columbus, you have the choice that you can keep me like you've kept Bobrovsky and Panarin, and you can watch me walk out the door, but I prefer you guys move me this summer. And they will, Mac. He's done. He's gone. He won't start next season.
I know, and it is probably going to be a rebuild, and it's the fan base have been so loyal. There's been some exciting times, but unfortunately, one playoff win in 20 years is a pretty big frustration.
He's got Werenski that he can keep next year and move him in the summer as an RFA, or he can move him at the trade deadline next season. So he's going to have a ton of assets here to play, but sorry, Columbus fans, you're just going to have to be patient. And Larson's the perfect guy to be patient with.
Yeah, no, I think, Brad, look, I'm glad for him. I think I'm I like to see guys get a chance. I really do. And that's, but the perception is, I talked to some people in Columbus last night, and they're saying like, what is this? Explain this. I mean, but anyway, that's the way it is.
Top 2 teams that Seth Jones is going to right now. You want to handicap it for me?
I think LA Kings are a team that will be in the hunt big time. And I know they got to deal with the Dowdy money, but I got a funny feeling that LA Kings will be front and center trying to get him. And you mentioned the Chicago Blackhawks.
And the Dallas Stars. Those are my 2 teams. He will not go to Canada. That's not happening.
I'm surprised Dallas with their back end, unless, they can move somebody to bring him in because they've got a real good back end. But Seth Jones is a valuable commodity. I'll tell you a team that could. I know they don't have room for him, Colorado, but
Mac. I was just about to say that.
Okay? Yeah, they could use him big time.
They will be the number 1 team bidding for Seth Jones.
Colorado.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe that, and I think. Look at I thought the defense was a difference last night for me. Big part of the game. And I love the mobility of their blue line, but I don't like the bite in their blue line.
And
I do not like the bite.
I hear he wants to go to Colorado.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
He's got 1 year left on his deal. He gets traded to Colorado, and he plays with the Avs for 1 year while they get ready for Makar's $10 million.
Yep.
He gets to compete for the Stanley Cup for 1 season. He wins it, and then he goes to UFA when a good portion of the revenue starts generating again, and you could see light at the end of the tunnel for a higher salary cap. That's
I wouldn't be surprised. I've heard it for a few years, because of the family background and the history of the dad in Colorado and Dallas have been the 2 teams. But I think LA is going to make a big pitch here too. I really believe that. Yeah. I know he's in LA a lot in the off season. I think they'll make a pitch. So this can be fun to watch. There's a lot of teams could use Seth Jones. I'm telling you, because we know one thing about Seth Jones. He plays this time of year. He can log.
Put him in that lineup last night. Yeah. Put him in Colorado's lineup last night.
I'm telling you, we watched him against Tampa Bay. We watched him against Pittsburgh. This guy goes head to head with the best. This guy is a beast. This guy can log big minutes, and he's a quality kid. It's a natural. I just got a sign on my phone, Jordan. It says low battery. What's that mean?
I think it's low bat.
You're going to crap out on us. That's what it means.
I mean, to be honest, I was very pleased earlier on. We didn't get someone doxxed on air. We had a phone call appearance. That's all in all, it's a great way to have a Friday show go on, right?
Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Mac's not the only guy struggling on the Real Kyper at Noon show today. Apparently, Jordan's got issues with bunnies.
Bro. Yeah.
Bunnies.
Yeah.
Like Playboy bunny?
Are we talking like bunnies? Bugs Bunny?
Rabbits, yes.
So what's the deal?
You told me to put rat poison out there. If you want me to kill some beautiful young women, oh my God.
I thought you were talking Hugh Hefner bunny.
Yeah. So
he wishes.
I had some landscaping done before I took some time off. Was it like last week, the week before, and everything was looking great. The lawn was lush. It was like almost like a second cut off the fairway, And then all of a sudden, I come back from Breckenridge. And bunnies have destroyed my yard everywhere. All they do is eat, shit, and pee everywhere. Literally, it looks like I have like a desert outside. Nothing like Max lushness over there.
Can you see the ocean?
Yeah, we see. You see some glaring. We see the nice concrete path there leading into the abyss.
That's the ocean. I didn't know if you saw that.
Yeah, we see it. Rub it in, bud. Rub it in.
Well, you got to deal with your bunny issue, and I got to deal with the RCMP if they're going to come and check me if I make sure I haven't left my property.
What are we at? Day 9, day 10?
Day 4.
Oh my gosh! The guy that calls you, you got to tape the conversation in day like 12, 13. You will rip his head off when he calls. You're not going to be nice to him at all. I know already.
No, I will be. I'll be a gentleman, but it's not, look, we don't want to leave right now, but It's a long 14 days.
It's just the fact that you can't, and
But
someone's telling you no. That's why.
It's the safety. It's the safety of Islanders, and I understand that. I mean, although I have had like 4 COVID negative tests in the last 3 days and the vaccine, but I still want to make sure the Islanders are safe.
You got no hockey tonight and no hockey tomorrow night. You're
Oh my God, I
big
forgot
trouble.
about that. I forgot about that.
You're just gonna. I hope there's plenty of wine for you.
Netflix. And Yellowstone hasn't come with season 3 yet. It's devastating.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
It's pretty good. Yeah.
I think it's one of the best shows on TV. I'm so surprised it's not more popular.
Those shows do for you. Those shows make you realize that your kids are really pretty good kids.
Yeah.
I tell you what, that family, they're playoff. They're built for the playoffs. That
They're built for the
they're
playoff.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're no regular
the
season, man.
The other one was Succession. I used to watch that. And then I used to think, my kids are pretty good kids.
I'll give everyone a recommendation for the weekend outside of UFC 263. But man, Startup on Netflix. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's big. I think it's a show called Startup. Really, really good stuff. It's about a startup culture, but I'd never heard of the show at all. It's from 2016. Went on Netflix, and now it's one of the most popular shows on the platform.
I don't know if you and I have the same taste in TV shows, Jordan, but that, I'll try it.
So,
I mean, I like all sorts of TV, man. Yellowstone is great. I was watching Westworld recently. I just like to be entertained.
Westworld.
Oh no, I'm with you. Try
that one too. So
thanks, guys. It's been fun.
So what you're telling us, Mac, in a nutshell, is your son Clark has no idea what your net worth is at all, and that's a good thing because now you don't feel like you got the pressure of those families on Netflix.
Yeah, right.
It was funny. Clark commented in chat. He said, "Mac, you're on fire." I thought that he was kind of just kidding, not thinking literally or any sort of plotting behind the scenes, right?
Oh, is he? Okay, good.
All right, go. Can you wash your RV from
Jill,
the
did you
window?
finish your? Oh, Jill's back. So
now I know I got to end the show right now.
Yeah.
Jill's back.
You're right. See you later.
Had it up to here with us. Okay, Mac, enjoy the rest of your day, your weekend, and we will catch you Monday.
Take care, guys.
All right, Doug Maclean from Summerside, PEI. And Jordan, you have a great weekend, pal. Joe, thanks for, as always, your full marks on the thumbnail. The Austin Powers, Marc-Andre Fleury thumbnail was awesome. We hope you enjoyed the show. First time watcher, subscribe. We're closing in on 11,000 subscriptions, man. That is awesome.
12.
We hit 11,000 yesterday.
We hit 11.
Actually. Yes, very good job, everybody. Big support.
We're gonna try to hit 12 by the end of this the playoffs. How's that? Okay, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, a safe one, and we'll see you on Monday.